So, does Lojban affect how you think? Does speaking fluent Lojban for a long time affect how you think? I'd say yes. I would also say I'm not sure I'm not sure how it affects how you think exactly, and shouldn't they have like meant to affect how you think in a particular especially good way? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe just taking some different perspective on reality and having different thoughts than usual is good in itself, I guess. Anyway, Lojban's definitely been making me think some different thoughts lately. I will explain to you what sort of thoughts Lojban has been making me have. So, just to go over quickly, the part of Lojban that has been affecting my thought lately. This is a shmavo ben mahoy. We shmavo, a shmavo in the we selmaho. It's an attitudinal, which shows not just how you feel about things, but various things about how you relate to things and what sort of expression they are. Kahi means it's clearly the origin of it is imaginary, chanri, but that's just a mnemonic. What chahi does is to mark the thing marked as a se chachinmo, a thing about which you feel the chahi way, something that you chachinmo. It marks it as being not a perception of the real world, but a perception in a play world, a fantasy world, a fictional world. You're describing the events in a fictional world. Hahinai is of course the opposite, that you're describing things in a non-fictional world, in a world you experience as non-fictional. So now that's pretty simple. If you mark a whole thing, sentence with one or the other, like the sentence miklama, if you'd mark the whole sentence by putting it at the beginning or wrapping it all in fu hefuho, then we mark the whole thing miklama with the chahi. Then we're talking about it's not that I go in real life. We're talking about someone that I imagine, a character who I'm speaking something as if it were from the perspective of that character, and saying that the character goes, I go. But the chahi marks this as something that I'm imagining happening. I'm describing something I imagine. I'm describing that I imagine a self of mine in this imaginary situation, and that I imagine them going. Which, even simpler, fuhe chachinai miklama fuho is what I usually mean if I say miklama. We assume the attitude of chachinai. We assume that you chachir nine mo is how you, because nine mo would be a word, so if you put kahi before it, then that would be saying that you nine mo imaginarily. So to make both a chahi and nai go into the mo word, we use the r, so that this cluster makes the word not break apart. You can't start a word where there's nothing's accented until the nai, and you can't have like an rn that it wouldn't, so it doesn't fall apart if it goes this way. Chahir nine mo. So we assume, that's what we assume. If you just say miklama, then you assume chahir nine mo is your attitude towards that you're describing a non-imaginary event, you going. So those are both somewhat comprehensible, but what was happening to me was I was describing what I was doing in Minecraft, and I was saying sentences like this: mi chahinai klama chahi, where what I meant for the me part of mi klama to mean was me Hahinai, me IRL, me not in imagination. I meant that I was talking about like me doing or me planning is me in the non-imaginary world. And then the klama with going is imaginary because I wasn't going, I was having my character go inside of the world. So I've been saying, you can go back and listen to me going around Minecraft saying sentences like this, where the sentence dips in and out of worlds. And as I started to mark that, I started to feel like, wait, does this actually go together then? Because in English it does. And even if we were to mark things in English and say I, kahinai, go, kahi, then not only does each part of the sentence make sense, but the whole thing where the I that's in me in real life and the going that happens imaginarily are able to connect in a proper Englishy way. In English, you're always choosing a bunch of I can mean all different sorts of things, and go can mean all sorts of things, and you're always allowing it to sort of flow and choose one that makes sense. So even if you imported some attitudinals like kahi and started to mark out parts of the sentence with kahi, and even though it doesn't have the grammar, you could just insert fuhe and fuho and make it very clear where you were marking. But making it clear where you were marking wouldn't deal with this problem that English, something in English like go, has so many different meanings, physical meanings, metaphorical meanings, and so as well as imaginary, this is also could be any of these various slippery meanings of go, or could also use it metaphorically or otherwise slipperily and just slip into it. Whereas this sort of sentence, not just because of being able to chahi and chachinai it, but because of the way that me relates to klama, it started to make me aware of that I was saying these mixed sentences, that I was not just mixing two universes together, but taking the fantastical and real elements and relating them in a way that's not consistent unless they do belong to the same universe. I'm taking out things like the me or I would have like me planning, me platu, and then that's real, and then but me platu to go, and the going is imaginary. I'm not planning to actually go. So the it of course becomes difficult to explain right at the point where you're explaining what is not there in the English. What is it about the Lojban that the way that it like Tinker Toys connects right up, the piece plugging into the police, and always meaning something very clearly. Unlike go refuses to mean something clearly. Go could mean anything. It means a board game if it's a noun. It means to move or develop in various senses. And so it's hard to say, oh, the sentence doesn't logically line up, because it does. It works logically various ways by allowing the flexibility of go and the flexibility of I in an English context it's like, okay, we can find a meaning in here, so we don't have to, you don't have to be wrong when you just combine worlds and weave between them without thinking. And as I started to do the same thing in Lojban, I was just like weaving through the worlds, imaginary and not imaginary, metaphorical and not metaphorical, and And as I do that, as I did that, I became aware of how I was thinking of the interrelationship of the imaginary and non-imaginary things. And becoming aware of that, becoming aware that I wasn't aware of making those, of threading those statements through various worlds, is related to me also becoming aware of using emotional descriptions about things that the emotions that I was describing were also threaded between worlds, whether I meant for them to be or not. I would say something like "Uha shai, mi fash gefilo lan," and as I examined this, and I thought, wait, all right, this is threading through different worlds, and I'm not clear how. Like the me, I mean, I could be speaking a character in the world, but I'm not. I know that I'm clearly meaning to think of me, the outside world. It's definitely imaginary that it's a sheep, right? Okay, the discovery is both, I think. I'm both imagining discovering it in world and non-imaginarily discovering. But the facts that I'm discovering in world and the facts that I'm discovering out of world about the sheep are different, actually. So that's all confusing. But then I came especially right in here to this. If we use fuho, we can use them as tweezers to pick up just the shy. I began to relate to this shy here and to feel, wait, okay, I'm not feeling that intensely, really. I feel the shy as far as I'm imagining an intense emotion because it's saving me from death, but I'm also experiencing a weak emotion that's me. I'm feeling weakly on the level of my non-imaginary experience. Like I'm not really uhanmo, like feeling a gain that much. I'm feeling a slight gain from gaining in the game, but in the context of the game, I'm having a large gain or something that feels like a large gain, or feels like there's like lo monsuta yishai shugunta. So the monster attacks. So and the not just the emotions, because I would be feeling both yichahi, like that feeling that I would imagine fear in my character, and feeling yichahinai, like a fear, like I'm feeling yiref chahinai, a slight fear, and a slight IRL fear of losing my objects and being regressed in the game, or feeling the shame of dying on camera or something. But at the same time, my character is scared for their life, and it really thinks they're going to die from a monster attacking them. So my character is incredibly scared. But then what I'd end up marking is something in the middle. Like I wouldn't mark it and think about whether it's cha-hi or cha-hinai, but it wouldn't be either Ray or Shy. I would mark it like with a mixed amount of emotion, like mixing up how much. I would put like a pretty strong emotion that's like not really what I'm feeling or what my character is feeling, what I'm really feeling is weak sympathetic emotions from the strong emotions of my character, leading into weak sympathetic emotions from me, and like covering, shielding, because of the intensity of the imaginary emotions is like a cover that changes somehow or conceals how it is that I directly feel, or that I indirectly feel about the imaginary feelings. Did any of that make sense in English? The point is, you don't need to like worry about, you can feel free to make sentences that dip through imagination like those without feeling like there's a problem. I don't know that it's not Shibosarche to weave through various worlds. It may depend on exactly how you do it, whether it's constructed in a Shibosarche way, a way that's harmonious with Lojban's spirit and intention. But my point is not whether that particular thought is useful or true about either Lojban or the world. My point is, it's not, that thought is not provoked by English. It's just not. The English, even if you start putting in chahinai and chahi, the English is too sloppy. And even if you pinch onto things with fuhefuho, so you're definitely pinching onto an English word and then applying the attitude to that, it's still too slippery. It slips away because I and go aren't anything in particular. And even if you firmly grasp the go, what is it you grasp exactly? And not that causes a problem in communication. It mostly doesn't. Mostly you can tell which meaning of go someone means. But what was different for me, what has been different for me for the past like week or two, that Lojban has been provoking this different attitude in me. What's been different is that the precision of Lojban makes it visible what I'm doing psychologically in my relationship to language. So it's not something about Lojban. It's not something about English. Like, it's not like a way that English is toxic or a way that Lojban clarifies. It's more just that Lojban is a little bit transparent. It's a little bit not there, in a way that makes it so that if you're paying attention while using it, you can see through the way language and thought come together in a way that you can't see through them in the context of English style thoughts. Okay, hope that helps. Welcome to Lojban.